Aloha and welcome to Action Island. I am Gilles Gallant, and we are back to close out week 3. We got a good one on deck, though, for Monday Night Football, guys. Detroit Lions, Baltimore Ravens. I've got Nick Giffen, Grant Neiffer, Derek Carter joining me today. Last Monday, we hit a nice 16-1 parlay with the Chargers Raiders game, and we're going to try to do that again today. And we're going to do a 4-leg parlay for Monday Night Football. We're each going to give 2 bets for the game. So it's going to be 2 picks from us, and then we'll vote on that pick. By the end of the show, we will have a nice 4-leg parlay for you. And as always, as we give out these picks, the quick slip link is going to be dropped in the YouTube chat. So that way you're able to grab that and get that before the lines move. So, Grant, you're up. You've got 2 bets here. What do you like?
Yep. So first one, I'm going with Gibbs over receiving yards. I got it at 24 and a half. I'd still hit it at 26 and a half. I think it's at right now. Lions -4 or +4.5 dogs in this spot here. So the game script probably is going to favor them passing the ball later on in the game. Goff has struggled in outdoor games pretty much his entire career. We all know the splits. And in those games, he has a tendency to kind of drop the ball off more to the short areas, and that should favor Gibbs heavily. We look at the last time these two teams played back in 2023, and Gibbs had 10 targets, 9 receptions, 58 receiving yards. Ravens, big pass funnel, great run defense. Okay, pass defense, but realistically, it's more that they're just forced to throw against. So numbers are heavily inflated because of that. They gave up a bunch of receiving yards, fourth in the league, I think, to running backs last season. So Gibbs getting him at 25, 24, 26, whatever you get him at, is still probably too low. I think they're going to be passing a lot in this spot here. I think they're going to be trailing. I think Gibbs is going to be the big beneficiary, and the other beneficiary is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. I got his touchdown odds at +130. I think they're still out there at that. You can get +120, +130. I have it close to a coin flip. So again, Goff struggles in the outdoors, but he still is going to give huge amounts of volume to Amon-Ra. And we look at the last game these two played together. Amon-Ra, 13 receptions, 15 or 19 targets, 102 receiving yards. They didn't end up scoring in that game, but I expect them to score in this spot. I expect them to score plenty in this spot. Again, the game script likely lends itself to Detroit passing the ball more and going up against this pass funnel. Everything should be funneling through Amon-Ra in this spot here. So +130 I have as a bit too high here. Those are my 2 bets.
Yeah, Grant. I mean, I think it's really interesting too with Jahmyr Gibbs because I thought that this line would be closer to, around 30 receiving yards, just given the target volume that he's been getting and likely the fact that Goff might have to dump it off a little bit more if he's getting pressure in his face. And then Amon-Ra, I think the only reason why we're even getting +130 is given the matchup because he's playing against the Ravens coming off a 3 touchdown game. Any other matchup, like when you're facing a lesser team, he'd probably be minus odds. So again, good value on that front. So guys, we got to take a vote here. Are we going to take Jahmyr Gibbs over 26 and a half receiving yards, or are we going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown for an anytime touchdown at +130? Let's vote. All right, guys, are we going to take Jahmyr Gibbs to go over his receiving yards prop, or are we going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown for an anytime touchdown? I voted for Gibbs. What did you guys do? Okay, so looks like we got all right. All right, so not a split vote, or yeah, it is a split vote. So yeah, Derek, you were on Amon Ra for an anytime touchdown. Nick and I were going to be taking Jahmyr Gibbs over 26 and a half receiving yards. Okay, Derek, you're up next. So you have 2 picks for this game. What are you looking at?
Yeah, my first one is going to be Derrick Henry. Ooh, Derrick Henry under 18 and a half carries at even money is the best odds that are out there right now. Um, it's no secret to anyone who's followed me in the past. I am not a big Derrick Henry fan. I don't like taking overs on star players, especially ones that tend to be overrated by the general public. Even if you look at what he's done with Baltimore, Henry's only 10-9 to the under on this. So he's actually gone under more than he's gone over in his career in Baltimore. So it's been profitable before you even account for game context, any sort of regression, or allowing for any chance of injury, ejection, any of that kind of stuff. Then you look at the actual context of the game, and Henry's averaged one fewer carry and a 7% drop in carry share. in games that project as close as this one does. Then you look at the other part of the game, which is the pace that I like to focus on. And Detroit's offense is the slowest paced in all of football, which should just drive overall volume down for the Baltimore Ravens. So that's my first one, Derrick Henry,
Yep.
under 18.5 carries.
I love this pick
Then,
because I feel like you're going against the public because you know that a lot of people are going to be looking at over 2 touchdowns, all that stuff for
oh
Derrick
yeah.
Henry. So I love that you're going against. Not saying it's contrarian, it's just more of I like the angle that you're taking here. So what's the next one?
Next one I'm looking at is Jared Goff under half of an interception, also at even money. Best odds right now are over at FanDuel. Uh, Again, you just look at what he's done with Detroit since 2021, since he joined the team. This has hit 58% of the time, and we're getting even money on it. Then you consider the game context. It's also a slow paced Baltimore offense. Even though this game is outdoors, it's very low wind, about 3 miles per hour projected right now. And the Blitz is projecting 64% win rate in this spot. So 64% at even money is going to be great value.
I love that yesterday when you gave out that Geno Smith prop because we talked about that, like just of the consensus and talking about like the public perception of him. And then a lot of people I think are going to be thinking of Jared Goff, those away splits, those outdoor splits. This is probably a spot where he's going to throw an interception and you're going against that. So I love both of these angles here. So guys, we got to vote now. Derrick Henry under 18.5 carries in the game or Jared Goff to not throw an interception. So let's take a vote. All right, Nick, Grant, which way did we go? We're going with Derrick Henry under 18.5 carries or the interception? What do we got? So we got Henry. Yeah, that's a clean sweep for Henry. So, all right. So, Derek, you're not a big fan of Derrick Henry, so we are going to vote against him for that. So, yes, under 18.5 carries will be now the second leg of this 4-leg same game parlay. And as I said, all these bets that we're giving out, they're available in the YouTube chat if you want to tail either of those bets. Now, Nick, before we get to you, I want to talk about Action Pro. Because Action Pro projections, if you sign up for an annual subscription to Action Pro, you'll have access to exclusive player prop picks from Sean Kerner and other members of the Action Analytics team. You also get access to our best spread money line and total bets, along with real ticket and money percentage. To sign up, visit actionnetwork.com/pro today. Use code ISLAND20 at sign up. One more time, that's ISLAND20 at sign up for $20 off. All right, now, Nick. Dr. Nick Giffen, master of the luck rankings. Where are we going here? Please tell me that we have a luck rankings pick in this game.
Ooh, this is a luck rankings game. It's not on the side, so there's no advantage in luck based off of which team is going to cover the spread. But this is a strong luck under, so we're going to take under 54 right now is the best number. You may have to get 53.5 depending on if and where you can, parlay this. But if you're betting this individually, make sure you try to grab that 54 since it's a key number that hits around just under 5% of the time when games are totaled this high. So strong luck under, the luck total minus 2.24. Strong luck unders are 47, 26, and 1. That's 64.4% to the under. And when strong luck unders reach a total of at least 53.5, which again, this is 53.5, 54. I think because the public is on the over, this will probably get pushed up to 54 by kickoff at most places. But strong luck unders that reach at least 53.5 are 10-1 to the under. And Derek kind of talked about this. We have a slow-paced Detroit Lions team, but Baltimore is also a bottom 3 in pace in terms of seconds per snap since the start of last year. And these are two relatively run-oriented teams relative to game script, pass rate over expectation. We got two teams that are in the negative percentage relative to expectations. A lot of running, a lot of eating clock. And then I also like to look at something I call over possession. These two teams, since the start of last year, have combined for 63 minutes time of possession. You can't do that unless we get overtime here. So maybe sprinkle an overtime hedge, but I don't really have much value on overtime in this game. But you get the point is they can't possess the ball for 63 minutes unless we go to overtime. So we only got a 60-minute game here. So these strong offenses are going to have the ball less than they normally do. So really like the under 54 here, getting that key number.
Yeah, and luck rankings so far this week, especially the luck totals, is when that kicks in. We got lucky in a sense. Not, I don't call it luck, but that total for that Cowboys Bears game was on pace. We got under on that. Same thing with Raiders Commanders, went way over. So under 54 is Nick's first pick for Monday Night Football. What's the next one?
All right, next one. I'm gonna tail our guy Sean Kerner, the odds maker, on Isaac Tesla. But instead of taking his yardage, because Sean kind of moved the line there, I'm gonna go over 1.5 receptions. The best line is plus 112 at FanDuel. And we're definitely still showing value on this in our projections. I'm just putting pretty much blind faith in Sean Kerner here. He thinks it is possible that Tesla overtakes Khalif Raymond in terms of snaps, routes run this week, right? He had three snaps, I should say, in week 1, was dealing with an illness, but still caught a touchdown. 11 routes in week 2 on 17 snaps. And, it looks like they're going to try to get him more involved here. So, in a game that the Lions are expected to be trailing, right? They're 4.5-point underdogs. Getting over on 1.5 receptions seems like pretty nice value, especially at plus money. I know Sean has him projected for around 1.7 receptions, which would pretty much make it break even on over under 1.5 receptions. So getting plus money is nice.
Yeah, and the Tesla prop, he tracked it, I think, at 15.5 yards. I've seen it now move to 16, even 17.5 in some spots at this point. So obviously it's a nice pivot here where we just move over to the receptions instead. So, okay, so Derek, Grant, we got to vote under 54 for the game, luck rankings pick, or we're going to roll with a Kerner style pick, Isaac Tesla over 1.5 receptions. Let's take a vote. All right, guys, you know my loyalty to the luck rankings. You knew that I was going to take the under 54. What did you guys do? All right, luck across the board. So we're going to take the under 54. That is going to be the third leg of this same game parlay. Now, before we round out the parlay, I've got a couple touchdown props. I just want to remind everybody, if you're on Twitter or X, check out Playbook. It's a new feature here at Action Network. If you see a bet from any of your favorite action experts or really anyone on gambling Twitter, you can now tag Playbook under their posts, and our AI bot will build you a bet slip at a sportsbook of your choice. It's that simple. You don't have to try and find, what menu the bets are under, all the different parlay legs. Use Playbook and build your bets the easy way. So 2 touchdown bets. I got one on each side. First one we're going to start with is Mark Andrews. He's around plus 195, plus 200. So that's kind of the value of where I'm looking at for him. But I just think that this is a matchup where he can thrive. The Lions, they play man coverage at the highest rate in the NFL. And last year, Andrews actually had the higher target share last season versus man defense as opposed to zone. He led the Ravens with 4 touchdowns versus man. 11 touchdowns last year, guys. He's already got 2 end zone targets through 2 games. So I think it's just a matter of time before Mark Andrews scores another touchdown in this offense. But on the Lions side, I really wrestled with this one because I think Grant made a great point about Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I'm going to go with Jameson Williams here at plus 250. He's around plus 250, plus 260. Looked awesome in week 2, exploded last week for a 64-yard touchdown, 8 touchdowns last year, 7 receiving, 1 rushing. The other thing, too, a lot like Amon-Ra, you know that he's going to be out there just as much as him. He's playing over 95% of snaps, 100% route participation pretty much. And then I think the Ravens pass defense, they are tough, but I just think because they play a lot of man coverage, I think JMO can win versus man in his career. He's shown that, especially with some of these deep bombs, and he leads the Lions in ADOT, the most deep targets. So I think Jared Goff and the Lions are going to try to dial up a couple deep shots to Jameson Williams, and I love him at the price at plus 260. So those are the 2 touchdown bets that I'm going to do to round out the parlay, either Mark Andrews anytime touchdown or JMO for an anytime touchdown. So guys, let's take a vote. All right, guys, are we going with JMO or are we going with Mandrews? How did we vote? What do we see? What do we got? We got Andrews, JMO. Nick, what do you got? Mandrews. Oh, wow. Okay, so a split vote though. Derek, before I talk about what were you thinking with JMO over Mark Andrews on this spot? I just was curious.
I just like that JMO is more involved in this offense than Andrew seems to be these days, and we're getting better odds on it.
Yep, nope, that's very simple, and I appreciate that response. So yes, let's round up this parlay now. So I just want to recap. So it is Jahmyr Gibbs over on his receiving yards. We're going to go Derrick Henry under on 18 and a half carries. We're taking the under for the game, and it's Mark Andrews for an anytime touchdown. If you parlay those four legs, I'm seeing 23 to 1 at Bet365, 17 to 1 at ESPN. I think some of these props to the rushing attempts, I think that might trip up like where you might not be able to parlay it at all different sports books, but we at least offer a couple different options. It's 23 to 1 at Bet365 or 17 to 1 at ESPN. Nick, I wanted to ask you about this as far as correlation goes, because I really like this one, and I just was considering, should we have put maybe JMO instead of Mark Andrews here? I'm just kind of curious on what we should have done here if we feel good about it.
I mean, I love Mark Andrews versus man coverage, and the Lions, even though a new defensive coordinator this year, they still committed to a lot of man coverage. So I think the Andrews play is good. And obviously, Cardi just talked about the JMO play. So either one could have been fine. And there's room for touchdowns here. The total's 54. If we hit 50, that's still
Yeah.
under. If we hit 48, 53, it's still under. So there's room for touchdowns here. And then Baltimore also plays kind of a high rate of man defense. And Jahmyr Gibbs had a 16.6 yards after catch per
Yeah,
reception last
he
year
did.
when he got targeted and caught the ball against man coverage. So, I mean, he's just going to shred, for some yards after catch if he's able to catch a couple balls against, the Ravens here when they're catching them in man coverage. So I definitely like how this all sets up. So, yeah, I think we got a good shot.
Grant, any final words before we get out of here, bud?
Now, regardless of that's winning or losing, this is going to be an awesome game to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's the key too, is I think we just want to see a fun game and just get to about 53 points. I think that would be perfect for all of us. So, all right. So again, the parlay 23 to 1 at Bet365. That is all for us today. Thank you watching Action Island for Monday Night Football. We'll be back here on Thursday. We're going to kick off week 4 with the Seattle Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals. So on behalf of Nick Giffen, Derek Carty, Grant Neiffer, I'm Gilles Gallant. Aloha and bon chance.